Good morning, family, and welcome to Morning Heart Devotion with Dr. Changshik Yong and our Heavenly Parents Holy Community. Let's begin by greeting our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. 천지엔 참부모님께 경배. 바로. Now for our family pledge, 가정맹세. 1. 천혜의국 주인, 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조의 상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 중심, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과皇족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조의 상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천혜의국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 천혜의국 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. And to open us up with prayer this morning, I'd like to invite up Mr. Manuel Liba. 복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Let us pray.
With prayer this morning, I'd like to invite up Mr. Manuel Liba.
Let us pray. Beloved Heavenly Parents, precious two parents, we greet you on this new day, together with all our brothers and sisters. We thank you for your opportunity. Let us pray. Beloved
echo chamber was in the beginning, but that was very interesting. A few minutes after hearing our appreciations from one another.
Name is Sami. We and you and me is a spiritual. I'm your spiritual mother, your spiritual daughter. Something I explained, and she was so bright happy. How I said, wow, she's so enjoying it. Things to me, and that's I've taken care of her spiritual soul forever. And she was so happy. It's first time I said to her, but she's so happy. Something like that. I'm learning from my guests. Maybe people said, "Oh, we have to have a 3 spiritual children." Something. It seems to me it's beyond of that. I want to meet. I enjoy to meet people whom God gave us that opportunity to meet, and then something like I feel something more natural. Witnessing is more natural. So, but I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to do so. I'm really thank you so much.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Misako-san, I feel like this is like you're becoming like God. Just so curious, wanting to meet your children, all so different and unique and special, and also discover more about yourself. And it's really beautiful.
Exactly.
Sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we all can feel encouraged to witness as well. Campus. I was on Columbia University last Friday. And yes, always very joyful. Okay, brothers and sisters, our leaders are still in Alaska. So Dr. Yong has a recording for us today. So let's open up our hearts and minds and receive Dr. Yong for our morning heart devotion.
안녕하세요. Good morning, good morning. My dear brothers and sisters, clergy and members of peace. 안녕하십니까? Today I'd like to talk about the unity of the world and humankind's responsibility from True Mother's Anthology Volume 2. Let's start.
The unity of the world and humankind's responsibility. Now is the time to attend the true Father who has established the victorious tradition in world history, and the true Mother, the global representative of women, who has gained victory representing all of the women of history. By doing so, we must establish a true concept of manhood, as well as a true concept of what it means to be a mother, a wife, and a daughter. In the context of new families, we must set forth anew toward a new society, nation, and world, and become forerunners in inheriting the tradition of the true parents and harvesting the victory. We women have the mission to give proper guidance to those who lead lives of moral decadence and disorder, so that the tragedy of the fall of Adam and Eve may be resolved within the context of history. Beloved women members, the Women's Federation for Peace in Asia has gathered you here for the important purpose of establishing the Women's Federation for World Peace. In the age of women that is now dawning, our members have to embrace our husbands and properly educate our children, so that we may be a model movement for practicing true love throughout the world. We must gain the active cooperation of our husbands and children for the development of the Women's Federation for World Peace.
Yes. True parents establish a worldwide historical tradition as a true father and true mother through the cosmic and historic course of indemnity. Now the time has come for all women to establish the ideal of a true mother, a true wife, a true daughter on these standards. From now on, women have to fulfill their mission as pioneers to lead the male culture that was centered on Archangel up until now. And for men as men and women as women to complete the three object loves. Women must establish the ideal of true mother, true wife, and true daughter, and men must establish the ideal of true father, a true husband, and true son. Living divine principle, heaven and hell. So let's study EDP content.
Heaven and hell. It is not God who decides whether a person's spirit enters heaven or hell upon his death. It is decided by the Spirit himself. Humans are created so that once they reach perfection, they will fully breathe the love of God. Those who committed sinful deeds while on earth become crippled spirits who are incapable of fully breathing in the love of God. They find it agonizing to stand before God, the center of true love, and choose to dwell in hell of their own will. Since the human spirit can grow only in the soil of the physical self, the multiplication of human spirits takes place at the same time that the multiplication of physical selves occurs during earthly life.
Let's study Father's word based on heaven and hell.
True parents must be the first to enter heaven. However, even though the gates of heaven have been opened by the Unification Church, no one has entered heaven. This is because I have not yet entered heaven. Hunjanin and Jesus sometimes go in and out of heaven, but they are still waiting for me. I am not just making this up so that I appear impressive to all of the intelligent people gathered here this morning. I have rummaged and sorted through all kinds of people, even those who defecate themselves. I am telling you, the direct path to the throne of heaven can be found from the individual to the family, tribe, race, nation, world, and spirit world. No matter where you go, you must raise the flag of love. If you put up a flag of any color, you will lose your way. You will not be able to reach heaven. Do you have the confidence to enter heaven? Yes. Are you going to drive the car of love there? If you drive the car of love, the angels will guide you to heaven. The path to heaven is winding, but once you get there, it becomes a highway.
Yes. True Father said, the gates of heaven have not yet been fully opened because true parents have not first entered the kingdom of heaven yet. No one has ever entered the gates of heaven. Hungjinim and Jesus sometimes go in and out of heaven, but they are still waiting for true parents. However, since true parents proclaimed the substantial 천일구 on January 13, 2013, on Foundation Day, they allowed for an amazing time when true father in spiritual world and true mother on earth could enter 천일구 simultaneously. This is really, really, really incredible. My brothers and sisters, my personal opinion is that true father went to spiritual world 6 months before the declaration of the Foundation Day to open the gates of 천일구 by proclaiming 천일구 while true father was in spiritual world and true mother was in physical world. I pray long time. Why true father passed away, earlier? He really tried to really proclaim substantial 천일구 centering on Foundation Day. And many people really, cannot understand why father need to pass away 6 months before of the declaration. I think about it, I pray about it, I put a lot of 정성, and I got a very strong inspiration that I think if a father pass away early to go to spiritual world and prepare everything, when true mother proclaimed the Foundation Day, which is the beginning of the 천일구, and then can open the door of the kingdom of heaven both sides, in spiritual world side, at the same time in physical world side. Wow. Then God's providence rapidly can going on. That was my understanding. Maybe someone has a different understanding. This is my realization after pray long time. My brothers and sisters, please pray about it. Anyway, I'm telling you, this is my own personal opinion and experience. Maybe can make mistake, but I'm telling you, this is my personal opinion, my realization. Next.
Heaven comes from the most miserable place. Where is the kingdom of heaven realized? It is in the most miserable place on earth. Where is the most miserable place on earth? It would be the lowest of all prisons. Reverend Moon of the Unification Church has laid the foundation in the spirit world and on earth. I began from the bottom of hell, the most miserable prison among prisons, and worked with the spirit world to lay this foundation. In the course of widening this foundation, I faced much opposition. I have been opposed by my family, my tribe, my people, and my nation, by the United States and other nations, by Asia, and the entire world.
Yes, where is the kingdom of heaven realized? It is the lowest of all prisons, the most miserable place on earth. True Father began from the bottom of hell, the most miserable prison among prisons, and walked with the spirit world to lay the foundation for heaven. Father already control everything from the bottom of the hell and realized his substantial kingdom of heaven from the bottom of the hell until the level of the cosmos. Today's youth ministry, be a preserver of heart. Also quite good and important content. Let us start.
A person resurrected one step more. If I lived happily through relationships with my brothers and sisters and learned about how we long for each other, then I am a person who has been resurrected one step more. When we spend time with each other in joy, in the place where we belong, we will come to long for each other. When I have gratitude and longing like this, my heart rejoices. And with a sense of longing, I develop a strong sense of responsibility in my life. When that happens, I get a determination to live a certain way. However, as I make a determination, I come to realize that I should not just live centered on my body. I want to live according to the wishes of my heart, but I also know that my body does not obey well.
Yes, we should always try to live with joy and gratitude for each other through our relationship with the brothers and sisters around us. If we want to always be grateful, think about what you have to thank God for since you were born. Secondly, think about what you should thank true parents for after meeting them. Then think about what you have so far to be grateful for to your parents and brothers and sisters. Every morning, whenever I wake up every morning, and I really remind myself, what should be grateful for heavenly parents? First thing come to me that God does exist. Wow, this is really, I am so grateful. Do you know why? God does exist no matter what. Secondly, I'm really grateful for God because God is my Father. I am son of God. He loves me more than himself. That's why I am so grateful for God. Secondly, what should I be grateful for? Our true parents. First, I am really grateful for true Father. He is the one who taught me that God is our Father. God does exist. And God has sorrowful heart. He has wishes. It is incredible guidance. Father, He is the one who taught me. God is really living God. He is your eternal daddy. You are son of God. True Father taught me I eternally grateful for true Father. Nobody taught me. And then He gave me purpose of life. He teach me everything through divine principle. And then I'm so grateful He gave me blessing. I gain eternal salvation. I have 3 children, 3 grandchildren. I know the value of the family. I know who I am. Wow. I am so grateful to Father. Father, Mother, you are my eternal true parents. You are my eternal teacher. You are my eternal owner as well. I'm so grateful. And then also you need to think that, what should I be grateful for? My spouse. I am really grateful to my wife. Without her, how can I carry on this kind of mission here and there? Who takes care of my children and my grandchildren? And she's the one who handling everything. That's why for me, without worrying my family, I can focus on the frontline mission. At least they can make the balance. That's why I am so grateful. I came to America. I need to be grateful for American brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters, you need to think. You wake up every morning. I should be grateful for God for what? And grateful to true parents for what? And grateful to your spouse and your parents and your children what? Before you requesting something, what should I be grateful for? To my parents, my brothers and sisters, and to my own colleagues, my own brothers and sisters. You need to think about it. And then I'm really grateful for Naokimi. This is the second generation, become national leader. He gone through all kind of the difficulties, but he keeping his first motivation. He working very hard. For example, something like even my staff, or Reverend Saul, or Tomomi, or the Taka, and always need to have that kind of grateful heart. Then the other rest, and there are also some problems and struggles, but you can overcome it. If you have grateful heart more than anything else, you can settle down. You can solve the problem, my brothers and sisters. And think positively about what you are grateful for the people around you. When there are too many things to be grateful for, you will value the other person. The more you learn about this kind of gratitude and joy in your life, the more you can live a resurrected life. Next.
The reason why my Shimjang loses strength. Another thing we come to realize while living our life of faith is that everyone wants to live in faith, but not everyone lives attending one center. I find that there are many indulgent people around me. And like a tomb with only the mouth open, we see many people with dead spirits. One important thing we need to know here is why we usually lose the longing and joy in our hearts when we are hit. It is because I recklessly reveal my longing and joy, which is the strength and driving force of my heart. The joy of my heart and the strength of my Shimjang are lost because I first say it with my mouth without putting it into practice. If I first tell the strength from which I gain joy to people who I do not have relative standards with, I will lose it all.
We all try to live in faith, but we come to realize that not everyone attends one center with one thought and one principle. We find that there are a lot of self-indulgent people around us. And there are many people who are alive, but are dead in spirit, like tombs with only their mouths open. In such an environment, many people lose the longing and joy in their heart as they give and receive with such people and are hit by their surroundings. Then why do we lose the first motivation, joy, and love we cherished? One reason is that we recklessly reveal the content that is the strength and driving force of our heart. It is because we are living a life like casting a pearls before swine. Next.
Be a preserver of heart. If I share the secrets of the word and what gives strength to my Shimjang to people who do not know the value of the word, I will lose my strength if I am humiliated or ignored by those people. If I express my joy, even though the other person doesn't understand it well, and they don't sympathize or agree with me, I will be caught in the conditions around me, and I will get hit because of what I said. So, to preserve what gives my heart strength, I have to be mute. To protect the treasure of your heart, you must not reveal the driving force and secret of your heart to someone who you do not have relative standards with. Having longing is a secret. The driving force of your Shimjang must be kept secret. I must keep it a secret that I have had any experiences with heaven. This is like a covenant. We must keep the joy we felt as we were moved by the word as a secret.
Yes, thank you, Heavenly Honey. I am always grateful for our Honey and all the media team, OG and Mia, always helping me. Thank you so much. Therefore, do not share the secret of the word and what gives strength to your Shimjang to those who do not know the value of the word. If the other person hears the secret of my 심정 and values it more than me, I gain more strength. But if not, I lose strength. For example, when a person who attended Divine Principle workshop and was deeply moved and shares the impression he had with someone he knows, and he is scorned, persecuted, or persuaded otherwise, he completely loses his strength. We think that if we share what we were moved by, the other person would also be moved. But if they don't, the content I was moved by will be blown away in an instant. Therefore, beginners in the faith should be careful. Therefore, to preserve the content that gives my heart strength, I have to be mute for a certain period of time, to protect the treasure of my heart. I must not reveal the driving force and secret of my heart to a person with whom I do not have relative standards. Therefore, I have to keep it a secret for some period of time until I am convinced, and it is settled in my heart through practice. The driving force of your 심정 must be kept secret. I must keep it a secret that I have had any experience with heaven. This is like a covenant, We must keep the joy and we felt as we were moved by the word as a secret. If I have a treasure in my heart, there are always a temptation from Satan who try to take it away. When someone asked True Father to tell them about how he met Jesus, and True Father said that the information was too precious to be shared with them, and he did not share. I don't know if the other person will hear what I say and value it more than I do, but if they don't value it more than I do, I will inevitably suffer loss. That's why I think anyone you have become the beginner, always before you say something, you need to practice and completely become about you can realize and centering on your heart, and then you can have unshakable foundation. Then you can share. But without practicing it, I learned many things from Divine Principle, was the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and then tell to the Christian people. But if you are convinced by them, and you lost everything. That's why, until you settle down, you need to keep certain period, completely settle down in your heart and mind. Do not share so simply, okay? Because if we share so simply, you lose your own strength and power. That is really, we have to be careful. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters. Now, okay, I have one more content I'm sharing. Sorry. We have one more content. Okay, let's share.
Don't reveal the secret of our heart's power. If I reveal the secret of my 심정 to someone who I do not have relative standards with, its precious value will fall to the ground. God secretly told Eve not to eat the forbidden fruit because Eve was cute and lovely and he did not want her to do wrong. So he told her with that wish. It was God's words only to Adam and Eve. God was so happy that he secretly asked Eve to keep the word of the covenant. But as it leaked out, Eve started relating with the archangel. This was the motive for the fall. Even those of us who believe today will begin to weaken if we reveal the secrets of our hearts. In fact, the secret of our heart's power becomes the material and fuel for our spirit. I must embrace that, shed tears, and win the fight and leave a track record. However, if you do not put it into practice and quickly leak out the grace you have received, that will become a cause of failure. This is the number one reason believers fail today.
Yes, this very important content. Don't reveal the secret of our heart's power. If I reveal the secret of my 심정 to someone who do not have a relative standards with, its precious value will fall to the ground. Adam and Eve should have kept it a secret from the archangel that God told them not to eat for the forbidden fruit. However, Adam and Eve told the archangel the secret that God had told them not to eat of the forbidden fruit. And the archangel eventually persuaded them to fall. Really, God said like that, to not eat the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. No, if you eat it, and you become like a God. And Adam and Eve really convinced by archangel. Adam and Eve, whose spiritual level was still lower than that of the archangel, were persuaded by him to eat the fruit. The command not to eat of the forbidden fruit were what God had only said to Adam and Eve. But they revealed the precious covenant to the archangel who motivated them to fall. Even those of us who believe today will begin to weaken if we reveal the secret of our heart. This is because of the secret of our heart's power becomes the material and fuel for our spirit. If we had a great treasure, would you advertise it to a lot of the people? If you advertise it, you are more likely to be tempted and lose. Therefore, if we have received the grace through the word, we must embrace it and shed tears and win the battle and leave results. However, if you do not put into the practice and quickly leak out the grace you have received, it will become a cause of a failure. Wow, today we learn very, very important things, right? That's why we need to know that how to really do properly our life of faith. You know, true Father telling you in such details, everything. How much grateful for our true parents. This is really important. We really thoroughly learn how do we maintain our spiritual strength and power. Today, I'm talking to you to not reveal the secret of our heart's power, And then when I confess you want to share someone is really protect me and then guide me, then okay. Otherwise, you have to be careful. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters. Now, I need to record because, Alaska time, around every morning 2 o'clock, and New York time is like 6 o'clock. So not easy to do that. That's why I am recording, morning devotion. I get a few morning devotion earlier in advance. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters. God bless you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Yong. Wow, I think you've given us a lot to reflect on and to see how we have been applying or not applying this guidance in our lives. So thank you, Dr. Yong. For our living testimony today, we have our Dr. Willie Weston, Sr. He is one of our ACLC co-chairs in Illinois. In 2011, he visited Korea as one of the 172 clergy. And what's special about him is he's one of the 12 ministers who stayed behind one more week at Father's request, which was very difficult. And I understand it was a 21-day workshop already. And they spent time with Father in the boat and very intimate conversations there. And so he recorded his personal testimony with Father. And it was one of the testimonies commemorating Father's life on August 14th in the Chicago Family Church. So let's watch the recording.
I'm privileged to have this opportunity to be able to sort of expound on the 172 as being a part of that. So I want to start, first of all, with point number one, that I was grateful that Father was obedient to the Holy Spirit to travel to America to share with American clergy his expression of the original substance of the divine principle, making clear what the Heavenly Father idea for humanity really was. That's point number one. And point number two, concerning the 172, I was chosen or given the opportunity once again to be a part of the 172 of clergy who traveled throughout Asia and Europe. And the purpose was to really convey a message to the international clergy how well we had received Father here in the USA with the message. And so we were able to not only travel, but to have to interact with them, give and take with them, travel to some of their homes rather, after making the speech and meeting their family. So that was exciting. All this I thought was an opportunity for us as clergy. We got a chance to see how they operate from an international perspective. I had, of course, a chance to observe Father Humer's side as we all got together, as well as his spiritual side. Now, I want to move swiftly to the last day because, as you know, we were there for a week. And on the last day, we were all gathering our belongings, getting together to return to the USA, to America. But Father asked how many would stay for another week. I was, of course, one of the 10 that remained. And that, of course, involved another week of fishing, early morning devotion, and immediately following early morning devotion, of course, we would head for the lake, fishing till early afternoon. So a greater portion of our day was spent out on the water, whether it was turbulent or still. Most of the time, Father knew exactly where to go to catch the fishes. So he would catch the fish and we would try. However, on the last day, I thought was very, very significant to me is that we were all bussed up to the palace for a special celebration, which we thought would be maybe 40, 45 minutes. And for all intended purposes, that's what it was going to be. But this is when I clearly saw the humorous side of Father, that is the natural side, the fatherly side. As we sat down to eat and we did grace, before we could even start eating and Mother had the group to come out to serve, Father would break out in a song. Well, some of the clergy knew some of the song, but most of us didn't. But whether we knew it or not, he would sing it. And he would sing it with so much emphasis on what he was saying. And Mother was trying to get the dinner served. And he was kept singing. And he would get up and sing some more. So Mother couldn't really stop him from singing, I think. So I saw that natural father side of him, how appreciative he was, how happy he was just to say, to have my children around the table. So it was a natural thing as well as a spiritual, and it was so well received. Of course, we were all laughing along with him simply because he was so happy. But we were even happier when Mother finally got a chance to serve the dinner, one of the most sumptuous steak I've ever had. And she had promised that she was going to pick the meat, the finest steak. She did explain to us that the steak that she served was totally different because she went up in the mountains, they did, to be able to retrieve this meat. But however, it was definitely sumptuous meat. Well, once again, during the table celebration, I had the opportunity to view him as a natural father because I had been so accustomed to hearing him speak in such a firm and demanding way. So I said, what a change. So I was very appreciative for that. So the dinner that was supposed to last about 45 minutes, we thought, lasted for about 2 hours. Eventually, everybody got involved. Those that were serving become a part of the singing. So we just had a hilarious dinner And everybody, as tired as we might have been, we went home that night, got a little rest, and got up and got on our way the next day. So once again, I just thank God for being a part of that. And of course, the places we visited was absolutely beautiful. The homes we went into, that I went into rather, was absolutely beautiful, and just give and take, give and take. We were able to sit down, and most of them could speak English. Of course, I couldn't speak their dialect, so they knew how to speak English. So we had good communication. It's sort of a short synopsis of what I see the spirit and the natural came together to make it one grand affair. Hopefully it'll help some things.
My God, yeah, our early ministers are really special. They've had these precious experiences with our true parents, and to hear from a minister with such a background in theology and spirituality to talk about being with our physical true parents, these testimonies really need to be written down and preserved for our future generations. So thank you again, Dr. Weston, and we hope to hear more later. With that, brothers and sisters, let's go into our breakout rooms and share our reflections on today and come back in a few minutes. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I hope you found some inspiration in your breakouts. Yeah, we had quite a deep, profound sharing. So I'd like to invite up first Mrs. Hermine Okoth.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Milhan. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Yes, what stood up to me this morning with what Dr. Yong really teaches us, it's about to be a preserver of heart. It's something I learned as a new thing this morning. It's happened to me, but I didn't know what was it. I didn't know how to put it. And I never knew that, to share something with people, you have to see the level of their maturity before. I was telling in my breakout room, I was sharing with Mihang and other brothers that I remember 92 when I was marched and blessed. I was so happy and jumping and rush and call my physical parents and tell them, guess what? I'm being marched and they're being blessed. And I was thinking they're going to share the same joy with me. On the contrary, they didn't like it. They say, we don't know. You say you are being marched. Going where? This place, Zambia. Do you know where Zambia is? What if there they eat people? Do you even understand what you're talking about? Oh my God, I was so crushed. And with that, I start doubting a lot of things. And eventually, my blessing even broke. The guy, after some time, the brother rejected me. And with that, my faith shakes. I start having a lot of doubt, true parents, even God. I was so angry. I said, why, God? You say you can see the past, present, and future. You didn't say that this man will refuse me? What is so ugly in me that this person can refuse me? First of all, my parents are not even, they didn't like it when I even told them. So when I look at this, whatever Dr. Angel told us this morning, it's absolutely true. We should really preserve what is, we should be a preserver of heart, something which is valuable to us. Before we take it out there, we should also check the level of the maturity of the spiritual level of that person first. Thank you. That's what I was sharing in our breakup room. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, thank you, Aunt Ermine, for sharing that testimony. I think a lot of us can relate. And yes, have some compassion for one another of what we've been through and how we can continue to support one another in these challenges. And to share next, let me invite up Reverend Stephen Boyd.
Thank you, Reverend Stevens. This morning when Manuel was praying, I was thinking, reflecting on Dr. Yong's continual guidance about God's heart. I'm so grateful to him that he continually speaks to us about God's heart. So many times we're kind of on the surface of that topic, and but I'm grateful that he perseveres and he brings it to us from a different angles regularly. So somehow it became clear to me when Manuel was praying this morning that so often we go through everything every day, our anguish, our suffering, our trials. We wonder, why is this happening to me? And somehow we think that God is up there, apart from us. It just became clear to me this morning that God is not up there apart from us, that he's actually what I feel in my anguish with my mission or my family or my brothers and sisters, whatever, the world at large is actually what God is actually feeling. I'm his son and I feel what my father's feeling, maybe even less than he feels it. So it just became clear to me that that this is what God has been going through for so long. And then appropriately, Dr. Yong in his presentation put the quote up of Father asking, "Where is God?" And he says he's in the lowest prison on earth. And then it made me understand why Father had to go to this very low place. He had to go to this very low place because if he didn't go there, he really couldn't win God's trust and respect, and he couldn't, as a filial son, leave that heart of suffering, having gone through something similar to what God as Heavenly Parent has gone through. So I'm grateful this morning that I had this realization. I hope I can keep it with me. I'm grateful to Dr. Yong that he always goes back to this point from a very deep-hearted place and brings real examples to us that it's not just words. It's not just repeating, it's really the reality. And the beauty of it is that I realize now if we catch that, our life becomes so meaningful as we every day strive to alleviate God's situation, just like Father did. Father was so closely connected, such a personal way to Heavenly Parent, and really at the forefront of his consciousness. That was always what he was doing. So thank you, Reverend Stephen. That's my reflection.
Thank you, Reverend Boyd. It really is life-changing insight. If we can just remember that somehow, that God is not somewhere else, that the suffering is really one. And the reason why Father and Mother had to suffer so much, because that's where God is. And there's no other way to experience God's heart. So thank you. Brothers and sisters, let's do some reminders. One, invite someone to morning devotion. And, even sharing this recording today, I think people can appreciate a lot of great points made today. The transcripts, all that stuff's on edu.familyfed.org. Thanks, Dr. Kiley. And joyfully give from your heart. Look at the link in the chat online and make a donation to morning devotion today. For our musical offering, I'm very happy to welcome back up Uncle Steve Honey.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Nice to be with you all this morning. Dr. Yong, Dr. Weston mentioned, among other things, about seeing true parents in their natural state, not just speeches and providence, and how much he enjoyed that, and in particular, Father singing. So the song I had chosen this morning is from a memory of true parents singing together. And they sang the song fairly often, and true Father used to tease Mother, kind of like joking with her during this song. It's a beautiful song. It's called San Yuhua. It's about the flowers and the birds in the mountains. So please enjoy. Excuse me. Singing early morning is not easy. San Yuhua. 산에는 꽃이 피네 꽃이 피네 피네 가을봄 여름같이 꽃이 피네 산에 산에 피는 꽃은 저만큼 혼자서 피어있네 산에서 우는 작은 새야 꽃이 좋아 산에서 산오라네 산에서 산에는 꽃이 지네 꽃이 지네 지네 가을밤 여름 없이 꽃이 지네 꽃이 지네 산에 피는 밭은 저만큼 혼자서 피어있네 산에 싸우는 작은 새야 꽃이 좋아 산에서 산호하네 산에는 꽃이 지네 꽃이 지네 지네 가을밤 여름 없이 꽃이 지네 꽃이 지네 감사합니다.
Yes, that's the one. Remember, I think we all can imagine Father, yeah.
We all remember
a good daddy time with that one. Thank you, Uncle Steve. To close us out with prayer, I'd like to invite up Aunt Margaret Jessen to close us out. Mute, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Parent, I can't remember if it was Father said this or Dr. Young, but it's harder for God to reach us than it is for us to reach Him. And how frustrated He oftentimes is. You are so want us to understand that you are in our lives in every way. And that what we feel is your feeling. Our sadness is not apart from you. Our lives is not apart from you. We carry your spirit with us wherever we go. And thank you for this reminder. Thank you for thinking about Father and how deeply he understood this and how much he wanted us to understand it. Thank you for your love and your constant effort and energy to resurrect our spirits, Father. We pray that we can be wise in how we can help others, Father, and not just throw our pearls before swine. Bless this day, be with each brother and sister, and give them hope and give them the realization that love is alive within their very self. Thank you, Father. We pray this in the name of Alan Margaret Jessen. Bless Central Family. Adieu.
Adieu.
Jessen family, and always being here and catching the spirit. Brothers and sisters, have a very happy Sunday. God bless you. We will see you tomorrow.